Hey y'all, what's happening? Robert Kennedy the third here, RK3. That's me. I am chilling in my office here on a Monday morning, and I'm going live because I committed to doing even more lives, especially as we are in this COVID-19 corona time, this quarantine time. A lot of C, a lot of hard sounds. Quarantine, COVID, corona. Yeah, I'm having a little bit of fun with it. You should have fun with it too. Listen, if you are watching this on the replay, I just want you to type replay, hashtag replay in the comments. And if you're watching it live, go ahead and just type where you're logging in from in the comments. I came on this morning just because I wanted to share a quick story and some comments about it. As a matter of fact, did I put the description here? No, I didn't put the description. It's a little bit too late. It's a little bit too late. Anyway, I came on because I wanted to share a quick story. Now, here's what's happening. A lot of people are they're a little bit thrown off their game because they're at home and they're in quarantine and they're not doing what they need to do and what they feel like they need to do, and they're running, they're hoping, they're trying to push to get back to normal. So here's what I want to share with you. I remember several years ago, I was home. Actually, no, I was doing some workshops, doing some trainings, and I came home and I wasn't feeling well. And so I decided I was gonna lay down in my bed, and by the time I laid down, my wife checked me and I was running a fever. I had 103, I believe the fever was. But here's the thing, sometimes you run a fever. I don't know if you've ever had the flu. You run a fever and then at the same time you're having chills in your body. That didn't even make sense, right? You're hot, but you're having chills in your body. So I lay in bed and I took whatever medicine that she gave me, chicken soup, etc. And I lay in bed, and then the next morning I got up and I still wasn't feeling well, so I stayed in bed and I kept lying there and just figuring I would get a little bit better. So about I took the next day off, and the second day, laid in bed 24 hours, second day, I went back, just jumped right back into everything that I was doing. I had about a successful half day, and by the time I reached the afternoon, I wasn't feeling well again. So I came back home and I lay in bed and I was knocked out for like the next week and a half, 2 weeks, right? It took me about a week and a half to recover. And part of the reason that it took me so long to recover was, as my wife told me, as my wife says, she says I'm a busybody, right? Because I lay down and I just took a moment to lay down, but I wanted to get back to my normal. I want to get back to my normal. And so I jumped up as I felt even a little bit better, and I ran back to my normal. So here's the thing, and here's why I wanted to share that story. In this time that we're in currently right now, a lot of us kind of feel out of place, and we feel like we're just caught up and we're caged and we're ready to jump back into our normal. Now, the thing that I had to learn in that circumstance was number one, I'm not Superman. I thought that as things veered away from what I expected, as I felt a little bit of sickness, as my body was telling me to rest a little bit, that once I started feeling a little bit better, once I started feeling like myself again, I could just run back into battle. I could run back into my normal. But the truth is, I couldn't. I couldn't, and my body told me that immediately. Okay, so that's one thing. The second thing I want to share with you is that when things happen to you like that, when you get a moment to take a pause, when you get a moment to be on your back and be in bed and not be able, when you get a moment to be forced to be, I'll say, incapacitated, you have to think a little bit differently. And here's what happens in those moments. It actually grows you. It actually changes you. It actually causes you to think about life a little bit differently. At least it should. Because you're not going back to your normal. There's a reason that all of these different things happen, and there's a reason things happen to you, and the reason that they happen is because it's meant to change you, it's meant to give you a new perspective, meant to allow you to think about things a little bit differently so that you can move forward into a new normal. Now, I know that the term new normal is being tossed around, being thrown around a whole lot right now because of where we are, because we're in COVID-19, because we're in quarantine, because we're in Corona time. We're getting this word, this term new normal being thrown around, right? But I don't want you just to think about it as something that happens during this time only. Anytime there is a shift in your life, anytime there is something, a sickness, anytime there is a financial shift, anytime there is a purpose shift, you move into a new normal. It's just up to you to recognize it and accept it. So I actually like to term this, and I was going to put this as the title of the live today. I was going to call this Recognizing the Story in Your Moments instead of the moments in your story. Right? Recognizing the story in your moments instead of the moments in your story. What is the story? What is the thing that you need to learn from each specific moment, each specific circumstance? Thank you, Debbie. I'm going to pop you on screen really quickly here. Yeah, what is the thing that you need to learn in each specific moment instead of just kind of trying to figure out what is the overall story? Sometimes we're looking a little bit too big. But what is it that I need to learn from right now, right? So I've shared two things. Number one, I'm not Superman. Number two, there really is no there really is no going back to normal. Every time you pass through a situation, look for the lessons. So that's a third thing. Seek the lessons and then execute them. Whatever you learn in that moment, whatever you learn in that trial, whatever you learn in that moment that you get to sit down like now and listen and be with family and do things different, execute those lessons as you move into your new normal. Wouldn't it be a shame if we went through all of this time? Wouldn't it be a shame if we sat and we were in our homes for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and we came out of it the same as we went in? That would be crazy, right? What do you need to do differently? What's the lesson that you can pull from all of this stuff right now that you can execute in order for you to be better the next time that it happens? Okay? What can you execute right now in order for you? What can you learn from now in order for you to execute later so that you can be better? Okay? So I just wanted to share that quickly this morning. What is the story in your moments instead of just the moments in your story? Instead of looking for all of the collections, why not concentrate on the present? Why not concentrate on the right now? Why not look for the learning in what you are experiencing right at this moment and then look to see how you can execute that going forward? All right, that's all I wanted to share this morning. Recognize the story in your moments rather than the moments in your story. If you want to, here's what I want to ask you to do. I told you a story. I told you a little bit about something that happened to me, and I pulled some thoughts from it, pulled some lessons from it. I want you to join me right here. I want you to join me in the Storytellers Growth Lab. The goal of that group, the mission of that group, is to equip 1 million storytellers with the ability to tell their stories with confidence. Okay? To equip 1 million storytellers to tell their stories with the ability to tell their stories with confidence. I want you to be one of those people. I want you to be one of those storytellers. Help us on the path to 1 million storytellers. It's Monday morning. I don't know if you have anything that you want to say to me, anything that you want to share with me. Otherwise, I'm going to get out of here, and guess what? I'm going to head back over into the lab, and I want you to join me in the lab. I'll see you there. Happy Monday.